Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate it. Okay, let's study the Bible. Exodus chapter 26, verse 1 through chapter 27, verse 21. Continuing in the instructions in the tabernacle. The tabernacle itself you are to make with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen, in blue and purple and scarlet. You are to make them with cherubim, that are the work of an artistic designer. The length of each curtain is to be 42 feet, and the width of each curtain is to be 6 feet. The same size for each of the curtains. 5 curtains are to be joined one to another, and the other 5 curtains are to be joined one to another. You are to make loops of blue material along the edge of the end curtain in one set, and in the same way you are to make loops in the outer edge of the end curtain in the second set. You are to make 50 loops on the one curtain, and you are to make 50 loops on the end curtain, which is on the second set, so that the loops are opposite one to another. You are to make 50 gold clasps, and join the curtains together with the clasps, so that the tabernacle is a unit. You are to make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. You are to make 11 curtains. The length of each curtain is to be 45 feet, and the width of each curtain is to be 6 feet, the same size for the 11 curtains. You are to join 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves. You are to double over the 6th curtain at the front of the tent. You are to make 50 loops along the edge of the end curtain in one set, and 50 loops along the edge of the curtain that joins the second set. You are to make 50 bronze clasps, and put the clasps into the loops, and join the tent together so that it is a unit. Now the part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, will hang over at the back of the tabernacle, the foot and a half on the one side, and the foot and a half on the other side of what remains in the length of the curtains of the tent will hang over the sides of the tabernacle, on one side and the other side to cover it. You are to make a covering for the tent out of ram skins dyed red, and over that a covering of fine leather. You are to make the frames for the tabernacle out of acacia wood as uprights. Each frame is to be 15 feet long, and each frame is to be 2 feet 3 inches wide, with 2 projections per frame parallel one to another. You are to make all the frames of the tabernacle in this way. So you are to make the frames for the tabernacle, 20 frames for the south side. And you are to make 40 silver bases to go under the 20 frames, 2 bases under the first frame for its 2 projections, and likewise 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 projections. And for the second side of the tabernacle, the north side, 20 frames, and their 40 silver bases, 2 bases under the first frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the back of the tabernacle on the west, you will make 6 frames. You are to make 2 frames for the corners of the tabernacle on the back. At the 2 corners they must be doubled at the lower end, and finished together at the top in one ring, so it will be for both. So there are to be 8 frames, and their silver bases, 16 bases, 2 bases under the first frame, and 2 bases under the next frame. You are to make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames on one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames on the second side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames on the back of the tabernacle on the west. The middle bar in the center of the frames will reach from end to end. You are to overlay the frames with gold, and make their rings of gold to provide places for the bars, and you are to overlay the bars with gold. You are to set up the tabernacle according to the plan that you were shown on the mountain. You are to make a special curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and fine twisted linen. It is to be made with cherubim, the work of an artistic designer. You are to hang it with gold hooks on 4 posts of acacia wood overlaid with gold, set in 4 silver bases. You are to hang this curtain under the clasps, and bring the Ark of the Testimony in there behind the curtain. The curtain will make a division for you between the holy place and the most holy place. You are to put the atonement lid on the Ark of the Testimony in the most holy place. You are to put the table outside the curtain, and the lampstand on the south side of the tabernacle, opposite the table, and you are to place the table on the north side. You are to make hanging for the entrance of the tent of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine twisted linen, the work of an embroiderer. You are to make for the hanging 5 posts of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold, and their hooks will be gold, and you are to cast 5 bronze bases for them. You are to make the altar of acacia wood, 7 feet 6 inches long, and 7 feet 6 inches wide. The altar is to be square, and its height is to be 4 feet 6 inches. You are to make its 4 horns on its 4 corners. Its horns will be part of it, and you are to overlay it with bronze. You are to make its pots for the ashes, its shovels, its tossing bowls, its meat hooks, and its fire pans. You are to make all its utensils of bronze. You are to make a grating for it, a network of bronze, and you are to make on the network 4 bronze rings on its 4 corners. You are to put it under the ledge of the altar below, so that the network will come halfway up the altar. You are to make poles for the altar, poles of acacia wood, and you are to overlay them with bronze. The poles are to be put into the rings, so that the poles will be on 2 sides of the altar when carrying it. You are to make the altar hollow, out of boards, just as it was shown to you on the mountain, so they must make it. You are to make the courtyard of the tabernacle. For the south side, there are to be hangings for the courtyard of fine twisted linen, 150 feet long for one side, with 20 posts and their 20 bronze bases, with the hooks of the posts and their bands of silver. Likewise, for its length on the north side, there are to be hangings for 150 feet, with 20 posts, and their 20 bronze bases, with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The width of the court on the west side is to be 75 feet, with hangings, with their 10 posts and their 10 bases. The width of the court on the east side, toward the sunrise, is to be 75 feet. The hangings on one side of the gate are to be 22.5 feet long, with their 3 posts and their 3 bases. On the second side, there are to be hangings 22.5 feet long, with their 3 posts and their 3 bases. For the gate of the courtyard, there is to be a curtain of 30 feet of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and fine twined linen, the work of an embroiderer, with 4 posts and their 4 bases. All the posts around the courtyard are to have silver bands. Their hooks are to be silver, and their bases bronze. The length of the courtyard is to be 150 feet, and the width 75 feet. And the height of the fine twisted linen hangings is to be 7.5 feet, with their bronze bases. All the utensils of the tabernacle used in all its service, all its tent pegs, and all the tent pegs of the courtyard are to be made of bronze. You are to command the Israelites that they bring to you pure oil of pressed olives for the light, so that the lamps will burn regularly. In the tent of meeting outside the curtain that is before the testimony, Aaron and his sons are to arrange it from evening to morning before the Lord. This is to be a lasting ordinance among the Israelites for generations to come. Yeah, and it seemed like most of the bigger objects in the tabernacle had these places where you could put bars through them so that they could be carried on the shoulders, which is because it was going through the desert with the Israelites during those 40 years, and after that, up to the point where Solomon builds the temple to the Lord. Carrying on. Matthew chapter 25, verses 1 through 30. At that time, the kingdom of heaven will be like 10 virgins who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of the virgins were foolish, and 5 were wise. When the foolish ones took their lamps, they did not take extra olive oil with them, but the wise ones took flasks of olive oil with their lamps. When the bridegroom was delayed a long time, they all became drowsy and fell asleep. But at midnight there was a shout, "Look, the bridegroom is here, come out to meet him." Then all the virgins woke up and trimmed their lamps. The foolish ones said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, because our lamps are going out." "No," they replied, "there won't be enough for you and for us. Go instead to those who sell oil and buy some for yourselves." But while they had gone to buy it, the bridegroom arrived, and those who were ready went inside with him to the wedding banquet. Then the door was shut. Later the other virgins came too, saying, "Lord, Lord, let us in." But he replied, "I tell you the truth, I do not know you. Therefore stay alert, because you do not know the day or the hour." For it is like a man going on a journey, who summoned his slaves, and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The one who had received 5 talents went off right away and put his money to work and gained 5 more. In the same way, the one who had 2 gained 2 more. But the one who had received 1 talent went out and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money in it. After a long time, the master of those slaves came and settled his accounts with them. The one who had received the 5 talents came and brought 5 more, saying, Sir, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more. His master answered, Well done, good and faithful slave. You have been faithful in a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. The one with the 2 talents also came and said, Sir, you entrusted 2 talents to me. See, I have gained 2 more. His master answered, Well done, good and faithful slave. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. Then the one who had received the 1 talent came and said, Sir, I knew that you were a hard man, harvesting where you did not sow, and gathering where you did not scatter seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. See, you can have what is yours. But his master answered, Evil and lazy slave, so you knew that I harvest where I didn't sow and gather where I didn't scatter? Then you should have deposited my money with the bankers, and on my return I would have received my money back with interest. Therefore take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10. For the one who has will be given more, and he will have more than enough. But the one who does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless slave into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. In the parable of the talents, you have this slave who has 5 talents, and the slave who has 2 talents. And the slave who had 5 talents got 5 more, and the slave who had 2 talents got 2 more. And despite the slave who got 2 talents getting less, the master replied the same to them. Well done, good and faithful slave. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master. So I think it's important to do what we can. And God calls us to do what we can in regard to work for the kingdom of heaven. At least that's what sticks out to me this morning. Okay, carrying on. Psalm chapter 31, verses 1 through 8. A psalm of complaint and of praise. In you, O Lord, I have taken shelter. Never let me be humiliated. Vindicate me by rescuing me. Listen to me. Quickly deliver me. Be my protector and refuge, a stronghold where I can be safe. For you are my high ridge and my stronghold. For the sake of your own reputation, you lead me and guide me. You will free me from the net they hid for me, for you are my place of refuge. Into your hands I entrust my life. You will rescue me, O Lord, the faithful God. I hate those who serve worthless idols, but I trust in the Lord. I will be happy and rejoice in your faithfulness, because you notice my pain and you are aware of how distressed I am. You do not deliver me over to the power of the enemy. You enable me to stand in a wide open place. Thinking here. Okay. So, this stuck out to me. In Psalm 31 here, you have in verse 5, "Into your hand I entrust my life. You will rescue me, O Lord, the faithful God." And in Luke 23, verse 46, you have Jesus being crucified. And then after the curtain in the temple was torn in two, Jesus called out with a loud voice, saying, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." And after he said that, he breathed his last. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. Carrying on. Proverbs chapter 8, verses 1 through 11. Does not wisdom call out? Does not understanding raise her voice? At the top of the elevated places along the way, at the intersection of the paths, she takes her stand. Beside the gates opening into the city, at the entrance of the doorways, she cries out, "To you, O people, I call out, and my voice calls to all mankind. You who are naive, discern wisdom, and you fools, understand discernment. Listen, for I will speak excellent things, and my lips will utter what is right. For my mouth speaks truth, and my lips hate wickedness. All the words of my mouth are righteous. There is nothing in them twisted or crooked. All of them are clear to the discerning and upright. To those who find knowledge, receive my instruction rather than silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and desirable things cannot be compared to her." Yeah. Gaining wisdom certainly has benefits. Well, thank you for joining me today. I definitely appreciate it. Hope you have a great day. Bye.